Chers auditeurs,
Dear listeners,
bonjour.
welcome to Comme d'Archi Podcast Season 6.
Saison 6, dans le monde fascinant des architectes.
And in the architectural projects.
Je suis Anne-Charlotte Deponte, passionnée d'architecture et docteur des universités en histoire de l'archi.
I am one of the spokespersons of Anne-Charlotte, who is a PhD in architecture history.
Merci.
Thank you.
D'être avec moi aujourd'hui.
To be with us today.
Et
And
maintenant,
now,
lundi en français, place au talent.
and Wednesday, let's talk projects. In English, of course.
Bienvenue dans Comme d'Archi.
Dear listeners, hello and welcome to our summer series for season 6 of Comme d'Archi. This is Esther on behalf of Anne-Charlotte. Today, we're going to step inside a castle that echoes with the name of an illustrious woman, whose story is said to be worthy of a fairy tale. We loved Chenonceau, which is also linked to the destinies of enlightened women. Here, it is about one woman in particular, as you may have guessed, Madame de Maintenon. Or rather, her castle, which she bequeathed to the Noailles family. In 1983, Mr. and Mrs. Raindre, owners and descendants of the Noailles family, bequeathed the estate to preserve this majestic heritage. In 2005, the Mansart Foundation entrusted the management of the castle to the Eure River Departmental Council. Today, the Departmental Council of Eure River is entirely responsible for the maintenance, management, operation, and activities of the site. We will tackle this new subject in 2 episodes. In this first episode, we would like to issue a warning to those with a decidedly demanding mindset. These episodes are not for you, because, obviously, this type of castle will make you grind your teeth so hard that you might lose them all. Yes, this episode is strongly discouraged for all shades of jealousy, those seeking revenge, and anyone who has not understood that the owners of this type of heritage are merely custodians, and that the burden is heavy. The example here is compelling. You have to maintain it, pay the enormous taxes, the abysmal social security contributions for the staff, report to heritage institutions, fight against decay far beyond our time by scrutinizing every nook and cranny, walls, roof structures, down to the smallest handle, renew, tirelessly bring it up to date, including the economic models, and bear the responsibility, and the task is no small one. I already mentioned this in the issue devoted to the Château de Forges, if I remember correctly. I recently came across, quite by chance, the testimony of a woman interviewed on La Radio des Frustrés, who painted a ridiculously poor and Manichaean picture of dirty rich Westerners who line their pockets and above all are inveterate slackers who make others do their dirty work. I was both laughing and saddened to hear such a caricature. Could we talk about the trains that pass by instead of harping on the same old thing? Go do an internship with the castle owners, my dear. You'll see that those who still have their property in 2025 work like crazy and are the first to get up in the morning setting an example, when they would often prefer to give up. With your demands to always do less, which will inevitably lead to ruin, you would surely be beaten flat. Yes, there have been some crazy monarchs, but few on the scale of the dictators who emerged from revolutions. There have been very positive, constructive acts in our European history, and the families who still pass on their remaining wealth are mainly enthusiasts, because you have to be enthusiastic and armed with immense courage to keep this kind of ship afloat, even today. I admire bravery, courage, the idea of passing things on, always the whisper of stones, the resurgence of souls, if you don't mind. It was in 1953, after World War II, that Geneviève and Jean Raindre inherited the family castle, which was badly damaged at the time. She was born in Noailles. I quote, "At the time, it was almost considered abandoned. It was a colossal construction site. It took us several decades to restore it. I spent my weekends with a toolbox. This project became our life's work, the center of our existence, and it completely immersed me in my wife's family history," said Jean Raindre in Les Échos républicains in 2019. Adding, "For the children alone, we knew it was too much to take on. It had been in the family since 1698, but at a certain point, passing it on to the next generation is no longer possible. So, rather than selling it, which would have been a much more financially advantageous solution, we, as a family, considered that we were more custodians than owners of the property. And in 1983, we bequeathed everything to the Château de Maintenon Foundation, the building, archives, furniture, and grounds. We gave everything to ensure the future of the place." Are you still there? Great. Now, let's explore the layers of the Château de Maintenon. They began long before the destiny of Françoise, née d'Aubigné, babysitter to the descendants, then mistress and secret wife of Louis XIV, came into the story. First, let's put it back into context. The Château de Maintenon is located on the banks of the Eure River, in the commune of Maintenon, in the French department of Eure-et-Loire, in the Centre-Val de Loire region. In 1674, it was acquired by Françoise d'Aubigné, who would become Madame de Maintenon. Its construction spanned the 12th to the 18th centuries. However, its dominant style is that of Louis XII, corresponding to a vast building campaign around 1505. It was listed as a historic monument in July 1944. The Château de Maintenon was thus initially the fortress of the Amaury family, lords of Maintenon in the Middle Ages. It was chosen for its geostrategic qualities and built on an island, according to history. The building's role was then essentially defensive. It was a fortified castle, like many others of the time, with keep, battlements, and drawbridge. The 3 round brick towers were built in the 14th and 15th centuries and connected by curtain walls, the anchors of which can still be seen, particularly on the clock tower. Until recently, it was commonly believed that the square sandstones tower, which is still standing, dated back to the 12th century, making it the oldest structure on the site. However, as part of the restoration project scheduled for 2025, the tower has been the subject of archaeological excavations by specialist teams from the departmental council. And what a big mistake! This tower is very architecturally homogeneous. This confirms that it dates from the early modern period, that is to say, the early 16th century, rather than a medieval construction, emphasizes Eure, head of the Preventive Archaeology Department of Eure. To refine their research, the team of archaeologists is looking at the floors, framework, and partitions. They are using dendrochronology, which is the analysis of tree growth rings. The wood used to build the framework and floors was felled between 1519 and 1520, which confirms that the square tower was built after the castle was acquired by Jean Cottereau, treasurer to Louis XII, in 1503, adds Eure. Let's talk about the 16th century, because it was during this period that, facing serious financial difficulties, the lords of Maintenon were forced to sell their family estate. Jean Cottereau, who lived from 1460 to 1530, and was finance minister to 4 successive kings, Louis XI, Charles VIII, Louis XII, and François I, was also a creditor of the Amaury family. He bought the château at auction at the very beginning of the 16th century. Wealthy, the new lord of Maintenon brought modernity and the comforts typical of the Renaissance to the castle, transforming the medieval defensive fortress into an elegant and luxurious residence. The description of the castle in the Mérimée database, written in 1992, points out that in 1505, the castle was built on older foundations, giving it its current appearance at the Renaissance. The Cottereau coat of arms, featuring 3 climbing lizards, is still visible today and bears witness to this period. Jean Cottereau also built the Saint-Nicolas church in a flamboyant Gothic style in 1521. In 1526, he gave his estate to his daughter Isabeau. She married Jacques d'Angennes, Lord of Rambouillet, but, on the downside, overwhelmed by financial problems, she had no choice but to sell. The estate was acquired by the family of the Marquise de Villeray. Soon, the most famous owner entered the scene, the famous Madame de Maintenon. We'll pick up this story in the next episode. Dear listeners, thank you for listening. Join us next week for the next episode of Comme d'Archi's summer series. Until then, take care. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to tune in to our previous content on Instagram at Comme d'Archi Podcast. If you like it, make sure to promote the podcast by giving it 5 stars on Apple Podcast and adding a comment, or on any of your favorite podcast platforms. And don't forget to subscribe and listen to all of our episodes for free. See you soon, and until then, take care of yourself.